Hello and welcome to Bodhicaryavatara, chapter 7, verse 15. Here is the text. Muktva dharmaratim shreshtham anantarati santatim ratir odhatyaha sadau duhkehetau katham tava. And again. Muktva dharmaratim shreshtham anantarati santatim ratir odhatyaha sadau duhkehetau katham tava. Muktva dharmaratim shreshtham. Let me call up the iPad. The root much means to let go. And we have it in, for example, mukti, to liberate as well. Mukti, specifically in Hinduism, liberation, being released. So much can mean to release in a good sense. Release from bondage, for example, release from suffering. But it can also mean to abandon or to let something go, even in a negative sense of abandoning something that you should keep. So the absolutive is muktva. Muktva, having abandoned, having let go. So having abandoned muktva dharmaratim, this word rati means delight or joy. When used on its own, in a moralistic or a pejorative sense, it tends to be in romantic delight, sexual delight. But it can also have a positive moral connotation. Here is the dharmarati, delighting in the dharma delight. So muktva dharmaratim, ratim is the accusative, having abandoned dharma delight, after letting go of the dharma delight, shreshtham, shrestha means the most excellent, the highest, the most glorious. It's from the root shri. Sorry, I didn't show my iPad screen. Here we go. From the root shri, of which the root meaning is to give out light, to emit light, to shine, and then to be glorious. And then as a noun, shri means glory. And then as a general term of reverence and respect. And that's why we get that's where we get Sri Lanka. For example, glorious Lanka, the Lanka of light and glory. And it has a superlative form, Shrestha, meaning the most effulgent, the most glorious. So this dharmarati, this dharma delight, is described here as being the Shrestha rati, the most glorious, the most eminent delight. Oops, sorry. Called up the wrong thing there. There we are. So this Shrestha dharmarati, he's saying what rati is the Shrestha, what rati is the most splendid, the superior, is the dharmarati. So muktva, having abandoned, dharmaratim, the dharma delight, shreshtham, the most glorious, the most splendid, anantarati santatim, so the root tan, meaning to stretch. We get tantra, cognate with Latin tenuus, our tenuous, meaning thin. In fact, cognate with our word thin, meaning stretched out. So a santati, it can be written as santati, or often found written as santati. Same word. So santati is something that's stretched out. That's the original meaning of it. And then it means a series or a string. You've stretched out one after the other in a long series. So it's a rati santati, a series of delights, or one long outstretched delight. Now, ananta, cognate with our English, unending, ananta, without an end. So ananta rati santati, an unending delight series. So a stream of unending joy, it could be translated. So muktva dharmaratim, having abandoned dharma delight, shreshtham, the most glorious, anantarati santatim, the series, the unending series, unending stream of delight. Now, these are all in the accusative, because muktva, having abandoned, so having abandoned the ratim accusative, shreshtham in the accusative, because it's an adjective qualifying rati, dharma rati, and santatim because it's also the object of the verb muktva. Muktva anantarati santatim. Then the next line, ratir audhatyaha sadau dukahetau katam tava. The first word there in that second line, to my iPad, there we are. The first word there, rati, again. The nominative form is a feminine in a short I, so the nominative is rati. You see that the word appears as ratir audhatya. That is because the visarga preceded by an I, same would happen if it were an U, becomes an R before a vowel. So ratir audhatya. Not rati audhatya, but ratir audhatya. So ratir katam tava. Katam is how. Tava is the genitive of tvam, meaning you, singular. Katam tava, literally how of you. Rati katam tava, delight how of you, means how can there be delight for you? Now, if you delight in something, take delight in something, that takes the locative. So, how can there be delight for you in arrogance and ridicule and so on? So, the compound audhatya hasa adi, literally arrogance, ridicule, adi, beginning, I'll explain that in a moment. That takes the locative because it's delight in those things. And we've got the adi meaning a beginning, masculine noun, and the locative is adau. Just as a little later in the line, the locative of hetu is hetau. So delight in audhatya hasadi is ratir audhatya hasadau. So katam, how, tava, for you, rati, delight, how for you is there delight, in, I use the locative, audhatya hasadau, in arrogance, ridicule, that's ridiculing people, and so on. Adi, meaning a beginning, just as we say etc. from the Latin et cetera, meaning and other things. In Sanskrit and Pali, that's done by putting what's at the beginning, at the start of the list. So and so etc. means you start off the list, then say etc. and other things. In Sanskrit, you do exactly the same at the start. You start off the list by saying adi, meaning beginning, meaning that's the beginning of the list, indicating there are other things to follow that are not explicitly mentioned, exactly the same as our etc. So, how can you have delight in, say, ridiculing? So, ratir hase, hasa, just hasa actually means laughter, also ridiculing. So, ratir hase katham tava. How can you enjoy ridiculing people? That's ratir hase, locative. Ratir hase katham tava. How can you enjoy ridiculing people? How can you enjoy ridiculing and that kind of thing? You'd say hasadi. So ratir has, but it becomes hasadau. You put the locative. So ratir hasadau katamtava. How can there katamtava? How can there be ratir delight hasadau in hasa beginning, and in the list of things beginning with hasa, that's in ridiculing, etc. And so here we've got ratir audhatya hasadau, in arrogance and ridiculing and so on. How can there be delight for you? This audhatya it's from the common root, we've seen it a couple of times a bit earlier, han, meaning to kill, but the original meaning is to hit, to strike. Past participle hatta, cognate with our English word hit. Uddhata by santi, a T followed by an H becomes uddhata. So if you are uddhata, it's actually directly cognate with the English word hit up. In fact, we say het up. Het up means you're hit up, beaten up, like, beaten into a froth, lathered up. Uddhata, hit up. There is one meaning of it, and it can mean kind of agitated, like het up in English. It can also mean inflated, in the sense of having an inflated idea of yourself. Hence the meaning arrogance. So uddhata could mean you're arrogant. To make a verbal noun, an abstract noun from this adjective, uddhata adjective, the abstract noun, the quality, the state of being arrogant, or arrogance, you strengthen the first vowel, first syllable, from u to au, and the final a becomes a ya. So audhatya means the conditional state of being uddhata. So audhatya can mean either being het up or arrogance. So ratir audhatya hasadau, delight in arrogance, ridiculing, adau, and so on, and things like that. Incidentally, in Pali, among the various hindrances to meditation, the audhatya becomes in Pali udhacha. Udhacha, audhatya, so audhatya Sanskrit, udhacha Pali. In Pali it's used in the sense of being het up, and it's often translated in the context of the hindrances, the obstacles to meditation, as flurry and worry, being hit up. But in this in Sanskrit it mostly means arrogance. And tava, remember, tava, the genitive of tuam, how is there rati katam, how is there rati tava, rati of you? In other words, how can there be rati for you in these things? Meaning, how can you enjoy these things? So I will read again from the text. Muktva dharma ratim shreshtham anantarati santatim rati raudhatyaha sadau dukkhehtau katham tava. I forgot to say, to discuss this dukkhehtau. There is the root he, meaning to push or to send out or to impel, and that can make a noun. Sorry, I forgot my iPad. There's the root he and the noun hetu, meaning that which impels or pushes, and so it means a cause. So if something is because it pushes out, it causes it to come into being. Hetu. So dukkha hetu means a cause of dukkha. So he's saying here that this odhatya hasadi, arrogance, ridicule, and so on, is a dukkha hetu, is a cause of dukkha. So it's the ratir odhatya hasadau with the locative, enjoyment in arrogance and ridicule. Dukkha hetau. Again, that's the locative. It's in apposition to or agreeing with, in the same grammatical category as the audhatya hasadau, dukkha hetau, also in the locative because it's governed by rati, delight in. So I'll read this again. Back to our text. Muktva dharma ratim shreshtham anantarati santatim rati raudhatyaha sadau dukkha hetau kathantava. This should have, just seen, this should have the anusvara. There we are, the subdotted M it should be. And again, Muktva dharma ratim shreshtham anantarati santatim rati raudhatyaha sadau dukkha hetau katham tava. And that's it for verse 15.